to celebrate Chatsworth's 133rd birthday. And I do appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And as you can see by our background, we virtually placed ourselves in the museum so that we'd all feel like we were doing something a lot more fun. We're going to go ahead and start. Let me share the screen here. And a lot of you have seen this program before. This is not on the first page.
Oh, back.
Okay, Ray will back this up. Share. Back. You go ahead. We're working together. Click it.
Easy for you to do.
This always happens
I
when
got
you're
it.
going to start a presentation. So, welcome to
I'm here for technical
the
support.
technical support we have to figure out.
And if I move, my head bounces in and out, so I'll try to stay still.
Well, we had our second COVID shots yesterday, so it could be that that's the reason we're jumping in and out, but because we're virtually crazy. Anyway, our reaction. So we're going to start out with this program. I've reduced it down to just from 1888 to today because we go a lot further back in our Chatsworth history. But we're going to start here with our Chatsworth timeline that celebrates 133 years of Chatsworth history. And the sign that you're looking at in the program was actually on the corner of Devonshire and Topanga in front of Chatsworth Park Elementary School in the 40s and 50s. And note that the Duke of Devonshire shield is shown on the sign, in the center of the sign, representing Chatsworth, England. And here we go. Now, on March 10th, 1888, George Crowe filed this map of a subdivision called Chatsworth Park with the LA County's Recorder's Office. Chatsworth Park was named after the Duke of Devonshire's estate, Chatsworth House in England. And Chatsworth was originally planned as a farming community with the land divided into 10-acre family plots. Only 3 roads were identified: Ben Porter Avenue as Chatsworth, Devonshire Avenue, and Fernando Avenue, which is Lassen. Now, Ray loves maps, so he created this one, and everything in the blue area was the original Chatsworth area, Chatsworth, city of Chatsworth, or community
Chatsworth
of
Park.
Chatsworth Park. And then the red area was the government land that was also part of the ex-mission San Fernando. And that government land is where our homesteaders went. And the blue area is where you could get your 10 acres. And we do have several programs, at least 3, on our homesteaders that lived on that government land and the history of them and their families. And we have been working hard to keep in touch with all the descendants of these homesteaders because it makes it more fun for them to know where they can come find their history. Dry wheat farming took place in our area before water was available. And of course, the rain would come, the wheat would come up, and with a little luck, it could get a couple harvests out of it. And of course, homesteader J.R. Williams' farm crew, he made money helping everybody else harvest their wheat. But before that, mostly everything was, what do we want to call it? Sheep and cattle range. And then it turned into golden wheat fields. Now, we all know about our Chatsworth Park Elementary School, and it started out in 1890, called the Santa Susana School, was changed in 1902. The current school is still located at the same location, the northwest corner of Devonshire and Topanga. The Santa Susana School District was created in 1879. The site of the first school, 1880, is not pictured. It was on the northwest corner of Topanga and Chatsworth Street.
And just to point out, the little girl in the front row with the dress, there's a little X on the bottom of her dress, and that is Minnie Hill Palmer.
That's right. Next to, right sort of behind the tiny little girl in front.
Right. First row. Okay.
First row. Go ahead, Ray. Okay, the Chatsworth Hotel Inn, although it was built and very busy during the early movie period, It wasn't torn down until 1958, and it is the site of today's Staybridge Suites off of Lassen, just north of the 1893 depot, the first depot. And here is the Chatsworth train depot. You'd think I know that this slide was coming. Anyway, it was located at the northeast corner of Marilla and Topanga. And this actual photo is part of a postcard collection that was done. It's an amazing set of postcards. We do have that as a program also, just to see all the postcards done that day and the people that were posed into those postcards. Go ahead. Okay, I found this map somewhere, and that shows, I was excited because it showed our railroad coming in from the bottom right, going across the valley all the way straight across, and then straight up, and then over to the quarry. And our Chatsworth Railroad came in 1893. That was the first sign of the railroad. I'm going to let Ray talk about this picture because there's so much in it, and I'll go ahead, Ray.
Okay, well, this is a photo looking north, and the train is the train tracks are a little north of today's Marilla Street, and the road going up is Topanga Canyon Boulevard, or at that time was Santa Susana. And what is fascinating about this to me is that if you look from the train all the way north, there's really nothing there except for Stony Point, which is very recognizable. So there weren't a lot of buildings. On the right, the building in the front is the Chatsworth Depot. The building behind the depot is the hotel. And you actually entered that from Santa Susana Pass Road, and there was a long driveway up to it. And then one of our most fun landmarks is the Graves Hill General Store, which is on the left, which is on today's corner of Lassen and Topanga Canyon Boulevard, southwest corner.
There you go. And the school is probably hiding
Well, that's true. And the school is there, and it's hiding
and of
right
course,
up there.
Stony Point. Let me get the mouse out of the way. This is our iconic photo of Chatsworth. It's used to represent us a lot. It's on the corner of Lassen and Topanga, or what was Santa Susana Pass Road. The Graves and Hill General Store was on Topanga at Lassen from 1906 to 1915. They bought the store after the death of Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, the previous owners. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to find any information on the Jacksons, but we're still looking. Ray does all sorts of research all the time. Okay, the Gray family. They came in 1898, and he bought the land a little earlier, but they built this stately home on Lassen, lining the street with olive tree cuttings from the San Fernando Mission. The home with 14 rooms cost $1,200, and it was built on 200 acres. The 24 by 24 central court entry had an 18-foot ceiling, where they always put a big Christmas tree in the middle of it. It was the first home in the valley to have gas lights. I had to look up what the gas lights were. That was interesting. But 76 olive trees on Lassen are an LA has historic cultural monument number 47. The 1903 Chatsworth Community Church was located on Topanga, and it was relocated to Oakwood Cemetery in 1965. That was actually how our Chatsworth Historical Society got involved and was created.
Was formed, right.
And it's LA Historic Cultural Monument number 14. It's a small number early back when they were just starting. Now, you can't think about Chatsworth without realizing we have our trains and our train tunnels. And it all started back in 1899. And this is a part of the grading crew. And they're out there with their shovels, and they're trying to make this perfectly graded and the tracks haven't even gone in yet. There were 3 tunnels, and they were all completed in 1904.
And we have a complete, we have many presentations up on our website, chatsworthhistory.com. But the railroad one is, to me, one of the most fascinating because we have actual pictures that were taken by the people supervising the project, sending it up to Sacramento, to Southern Pacific, explaining the, the progress they made. And this is my favorite photo of these men basically just making the road flat and, using horses and carts and shovels. So as it should be.
We have a couple more slides on the railroad. Okay, working inside the tunnel, they had this large, I don't know, what do they call it? Anyway, it's 3 stories, and you can see on the bottom level, the horse with the cart and a man standing in another cart where they're bringing stuff in and out. And there's a man standing on the second level and doing work. And up on the top, they're shoring up the beams, the upper beams. So they had a pretty clever method for doing all this. Do you want to?
Sure. On a, how do I say this? Southern Pacific also was involved with the Chatsworth Park Quarry, and a lot of people think the train tunnels were a part of the quarry, and they were not. So there was a separate spur put in. Ann talked about in the map for 1893 to start the quarry, and that was to provide stone for the breakwater in San Pedro. Anyway, we've got some fascinating photos. We just recently, in our next newsletter, we're going to have another photo of this. But if you look here, they've got a derrick system, and they were steam operated derricks, basically telephone poles with a lot of cables and pulleys on them. And we've got a new picture that just came in from someone that shows these even in more detail. But if you look sort of, maybe I can get it with the mouse. If you look right here, you can see here's a big set of rock tongs. Think of ice tongs that your grandmother used to have to put the ice in the refrigerator. Here's some rock tongs picking up, maybe a 500 or 600 pound boulder.
All right, so we did have 3 schools on that corner. This was the second school. And about this time in the whole city, we were part of the LA City School District now. They built amazing schools everywhere. However, they used hollow core construction, and they did not, which is the before, sort of like cinder block, but it was clay. And after the earthquake, what year was that earthquake? 1933?
Right.
The Long Beach earthquake, they decided that they couldn't trust these buildings. So they tore them down. And in 1935, they built our current school that's there, 1 story, and most of LA schools went to 1 story. Oh, this is a beautiful picture. And our Chatsworth Lake and Reservoir, which was part of Chatsworth at that time, or still is. 1913 Los Angeles Aqueduct Opening Day celebration was November 5th, 1913. And in 1918, the Chatsworth Reservoir is built, and it is in service from 1919 to 1969. It was drained and expanded in 1969, but the 1971 Sylmar earthquake resulted in the closure of this reservoir filled with an earthen-filled dam. Do you have anything else to say about it?
No, it had water in it for 50 years, and it's been dry for over 50 years now.
The only water down there now is in the pool.
Yes.
What is that called?
I don't know, the nature preserve?
The nature
Well, the whole
pool.
thing is anyway.
Anyway, there's a small pool there for animals. All right, this is fun, and this is where we're hoping to go with our first presentation we can do at the Acre. We want to talk about the Twin Lakes Park, who had a Mayan Aztec theme. Then we know a lot about, we're going to include Deer Lake Highlands, which was north of Twin Lakes. And we've gotten some fantastic documents recently.
We just received this document right here, which shows some of the literature from Deer Lake Highlands with the original Deer Lake Highlands in the
brochure, yeah.
1926, 27 time era. So that'll be our upcoming presentation.
We keep getting new
when we get
things.
together again. So we'll
That's
see
right.
when that is.
Go ahead. The Dosha Connolly gift shop. We have our display in the museum right now is a lot of the Dosha Connolly items that have been donated by various people. And it had a huge history, which included all the fig orchards that went around it. But this was 1930s, and the tea room was a place to stop when you motored out to Chatsworth from anywhere in LA. It was a destination.
Yes, a destination lunch
Oh.
stop. And yeah, the Paradise Gift Shop was surrounded by those 10-acre parcels. A lot of them were put in as figs. And I don't know how many acres they had of figs, but
I'm gonna
quite
have a
bit.
whole nother presentation
Right.
on that.
This is one coming up, so.
The Iverson Movie Ranch, always ongoing. We're always hearing more about various movies that were filmed. And this, of course, is iconic because this is Grapes of Wrath. And this is that point where they came across the California border and we're hoping coming from Oklahoma, that there would be green grass and orchards and places for them to all work. And there you are. There's our Chatsworth with all those beautiful orchards down there ahead of them. Oh, and by the way, Stony Point. So we know it's Chatsworth.
And if you do hike up to Garden of the Gods, if you go up Red Mesa, you can park, and it's a very short hike up to this viewpoint, which is still a fantastic view. And they actually have some camera mounts and rails still in the ground there, so you can imagine them panning across the valley, looking at doing filming for various movies.
Now our local, what do I want to say? Our local landmarks. This one is a local historic cultural monument, number 645. It is on the Huffman property. And you can see it as you drive down Devonshire from the elementary school heading towards the acre. And they take good care of this barn. It was the headquarters of the Palomino Horse Association of America. And it's referred to as Harvester Barn. And Harvester was the father of Mr. Ed, the talking horse, in a 1958, 1966 TV series. And we have a difficult time explaining to the kids when they come to the acre and we talk about this. They haven't seen the show. They don't know what we're talking about, and but the adults still do.
We all remember it.
So our stories are sometimes limited to our audience.
Sort of the same with Roy Rogers. We'll
Yeah.
mention it
Who?
at the checkout counter at Ralph's, and they'll go, who? Yeah. So.
Our munch box is LA Historic Cultural Monument number 750. And it is a classic 1950 style hamburger stand built in 1956. It's still open every day except Sunday. And so put that on your list of places to visit. And we're delighted that it's still there and still being run by Buck.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just saw the other day a sign that says Chatsworth Junior Baseball League is accepting applications for this season, which to me is a sign of spring. So they had their opening day in 1957 on Wilkins Field, which was located along Devonshire. It's the south side of Devonshire between Owens Mouth and the Munch Box. And then they shortly moved, like a couple years after that, over to their new facility.
And this is a picture given to us from Ken Ditto. Actually, Ken is up at the plate there. And he said the challenge with playing in this field is if you hit a foul ball into left field, it would actually go onto Devonshire Street and roll down. So you never wanted to park on Devonshire Street. Yeah,
you don't want to get hit by those foul balls. Oh, and this is a fun program. We have a program on this on the internet on chatsworthhistory.com. The Aqua Sierra Sportsman's Club in Roy Rogers Sports Center. It's located in today's Chatsworth Park South. By 1959, there were 5 skeet and trap stations, a 90-foot high tower, 1 9-hole golf course, a driving range, and 2 trout lakes. And we have a little bit of information on all of those in our program. In 1959, it's advertised as the Roy Rogers Sports Center. In 1961, 3 additional 9-hole golf courses were added on the adjacent 48-acre Butler Homestead parcel.
And so if we look, let me see with the mouse here, the Homestead Acre is sort of here. And if you today walk into Chatsworth Park south and walk along the edge of it here, the southern edge, this walkway is still here.
Yeah, they didn't take the sidewalk out.
It's a concrete sidewalk, and then participating, you'd stand here and shoot into the hills. And this is a 90-foot high tower where they would launch skeet from there, and I'm not sure where you would shoot from, but that was part of the fun.
We
back in the
found
day.
a video commercial,
Yeah, we had it, yeah.
which is great. And it's Roy Rogers advertising Chevy trucks, Chevrolet.
I think so.
And they talk about how they come out to the skeet range and they shoot. And so it was great.
Yeah, go into YouTube and type in one word, Chatsworth History 1, and you'll see all of our videos, and that video is up there in your spare time.
Yes. Now,
Speaking of Roy Rogers.
we missed the Chatsworth Parade this year, but Roy and Dale were honorary mayors in 1958, and actually for several years during that time period. And they would make their presence known for us. The Los Toros Mexican restaurant started in 1967 as one small area of that street and expanded in both directions until it pretty much took over most of that block. But it is still there, and it's been there a long time, and it's sort of fun when we have a video later that when I take this out to the schools, the kids cheer when they see the landmarks that they recognize, and this is one of them.
And the Munch Box.
The Munch Box.
And the Cowboy
And the
Palace.
Cowboy Palace. This building has existed since 1909 as the Alamo Garage, with country music since 1971 as Giovanni's Rodeo Room. Names since then include Wild Bill's, Ryan's Roundup, JR's Cowboy Palace, and now the Cowboy Palace Saloon. We're getting towards the end here. We're coming back to the Minnie Hill Palmer Homestead, and it is, of course, Cultural Monument number 133 in 1974. The 1911 cottage built by the Hill family is of board and batten construction and replaced the original homestead structure built in 1886. The Virginia Watson Museum is also located at the Homestead Acre. Tours, well, they're not available this month or next month, and we'll see which month we're available to open, but normally they're the first Sunday of each month from 1 to 4 p.m.
Yeah, we're hopeful that we can perhaps open up for tours, monthly tours on the first Sunday of the month, maybe in June or
In the
July,
summer,
we'll see,
yeah.
in the summer. We're waiting.
Now, we're going to move forward. This is just so that you know that you can find our programs on chatsworthhistory.com and SlideShare. Go ahead, Ray. We have something special to show you. It's the Chatsworth song, and it's written and performed in 1988 for the Chatsworth Centennial Celebration. We hope you enjoy this. Sound was on.
There is no sound.
What?
There is no sound.
There's no sound? Okay, hang on. I can fix that. I can fix that.
Share computer sound.
Share computer sound. All right, we'll back that up just a little. Maybe. Back it up. Click. Oh, You lost it. Well, Ray changed the whole thing. Let's go back to share screen right here.
Okay,
Right there. Click on it.
okay.
And give me this.
Yeah, you drive.
All right. We have to open this back up. We clicked the wrong button. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. And what happened? Stop share.
Here, right here.
Oh, okay. We're here. I'm sorry. There we go. Can you hear us?
Chatsworth, a great little town, nestled in the valley with the mountains all around. This is Chatsworth, our hometown. In the early days before we came here, the rocks, oak trees, and the pioneer were here in Chatsworth. Our hometown. Can't you see that we're growing today? Our children will learn as they play. This land has come a long way here in Chatsworth, our hometown. 1888, California State, center stage goes from here with passengers and freight right here in Chatsworth, our hometown. Now there's homes, businesses, industry, schools, parks, and ranch country here in Chatsworth, our hometown. Can't you see that we're growing today? We'll work hard to keep it this way. Our children will thank us one day for Chatsworth, our home. Can't you see that we're growing today? We'll work hard to keep it this way. Our children will thank us one day for Chatsworth, our Can't you see that we're growing today? We'll work hard to keep it this way. Our children will thank us one day for Chatsworth, our home. Here in Chatsworth, our home. Here in Chatsworth, our home. Here in
All right, that represents our presentation. And what can I say? Every time you look at it, it reminds you of all the fun things we've learned about and all the stories we've gotten to share about them. And 133 years, that's pretty good.
Thank you very much, both of you. And the museum looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Just to